He was the man everyone wanted, until he had nothing left to give. Lucas Thorne was a titan of industry, a billionaire CEO who built a global empire from nothing. He commanded boardrooms with an iron will, a man who trusted no one and needed even less. She was a simple physical therapist, a young woman whose compassion was the only wealth she'd ever known. When a sudden stroke left Lucas paralyzed, the sycophants and fair-weather friends vanished overnight. The glittering world he'd built turned its back. Everyone was gone, except for her. And on a rain-lashed morning, trapped between agony and a shocking truth, he whispered words that would shatter both their worlds. "I need to make love. Don't move, or it will hurt more." What was the hidden meaning behind his desperate confession? What dark secret was his glamorous socialite fiancée, Isabella, hiding? And why was Elena, a stranger paid to be there, the only one who stayed? This is a story of redemption, of finding grace in broken places, and of the unlikely beginnings that change us forever. A story that will make you believe that our greatest strength is often found not in standing alone, but in learning to lean on another. If you believe that the right person appears precisely when you need them most, read on. Let's begin. The conference room on the top floor of the Titan Global headquarters offered a panoramic view of the city, steel, glass, and cold ambition. From that height, the world below seemed small and conquerable. Lucas Thorne, at 38, ruled his empire from this perch. He hadn't climbed this high by being kind. He built skyscrapers and fortunes on a foundation of relentless drive and uncompromising standards. Love was a variable he never calculated. Vulnerability, a flaw he couldn't afford. The son of a factory worker, he'd sworn he would never be powerless. He worked at jobs to put himself through night school, and by 30, he was a millionaire. By 38, he was a billionaire. The cost was his humanity, traded for control. That Tuesday, he was finalizing a landmark deal with international partners. Every word was precise, every number a weapon. "Gentlemen, the timeline is guaranteed." His voice echoed, firm and absolute. "Titan Global has never missed a deadline. Our reputation is the collateral." The investors nodded, impressed. That's when the world fractured. A searing, electric pain exploded behind his left eye. He blinked, tried to push through, but the pain spread. His left arm went heavy, then numb. He tried to speak, to offer a reassuring word, but his tongue was thick and useless in his mouth. Panic, cold and absolute. "Mr. Thorne, are you all right?" He tried to stand, but his legs dissolved beneath him. The last conscious thought of Lucas Thorne, the man who controlled everything, was that he was no longer in control at all. He woke 3 days later in a sterile white room. The beeping of machines was the first sound. Then he saw his reflection in the dark window. Half his face was slack, his mouth drooping on one side. He tried to command his left hand to move. Nothing. His arm, his leg, they were dead weight. A silent scream built in his throat. Lucas Thorne was a prisoner in his own body. His neurologist, Dr. Aaron Reed, entered. "Welcome back, Lucas." "How long?" The words were slurred, clumsy. 3 days. "You had a major stroke, but you're strong. You will recover." "How long until I'm back?" 6 months. A year, perhaps. It depends on your dedication to rehabilitation. A year. Lucas closed his eyes. The silence was a void. "Where's Isabella?" he asked, without opening them. Dr. Reed hesitated. "Lucas, where is my fiancée?" "She had to attend to some things." Lucas opened his eyes, meeting his friend's gaze. "She hasn't come, has she?" The heavy silence was his answer. And in that silence, Lucas Thorne discovered a paralysis far worse than the physical one. He was utterly, completely alone. $2,500 per session, 6 times a week. Elena Morales read the number on the contract, her stomach twisting. It was more money than she made in half a year at the inner-city community clinic, where she treated those who couldn't pay. "I know this isn't your usual environment, Elena," Dr. Reed said, "but you're the best neurological therapist I know. He needs the best." Elena was 24, with an old soul's eyes. She cared for her ailing mother while working her way through school, graduating at the top of her class only to choose a path of service over profit. She knew what it meant to be overlooked, to have no one. Dr. Reed. I don't work with patients like that, she said honestly. The privileged, the entitled. You're right that he's privileged, but entitled. Dr. Reed shook his head. Lucas built his company from the ground up. He's difficult, arrogant, yes, but he's not spoiled. He just forgot what it means to be human. Then why me? Because the expensive therapist will coddle him. They'll fear him. He needs someone who isn't impressed by his money. Someone who will treat him like a person. Someone like you. Elena looked out the window of the humble clinic. Her mother needed a surgery they couldn't afford. This money was a solution. But for Elena, it was always about purpose. Can I meet him first? She asked. The penthouse was a monument to wealth, breathtaking and sterile. A housekeeper led her to a room that had been converted into a therapy suite. Elena knocked. Come in. The voice was weary and sharp. Lucas Thorne sat in a chair by the window, his back to her, staring at the city skyline. Even in his defeated posture, there was a commanding presence. You must be the therapist. He didn't turn. Elena Morales. The pleasure is mine. I'm sure, he said, the sarcasm dripping from his slurred words. He finally turned. The left side of his face was still, his arm resting limply. But his eyes burned with a defiant fire. You're here for a paycheck. Do your job and leave. I don't need a cheerleader. I don't need pity. Elena didn't flinch. Mr. Thorne, I'm here to help you regain your mobility. But this will only work if there is mutual respect. I am your therapist, not your employee. If you want me to stay, we do this with clear boundaries. He stared at her, stunned into silence. No one spoke to him that way. How old are you? 24. He scoffed. And you've handled patients worse than me. I have. A long silence hung between them. Lucas almost smiled. There was a strength in her he hadn't encountered before. When do we start? He asked, his tone marginally softer. Tomorrow. 6 a.m. Where's something you can move in? It's going to be painful. She turned to leave. Elena Morales, he said, stopping her. Physical therapy isn't magic. It will be slow. It will hurt, and it will require you to trust me completely. Lucas stared at her. I don't trust anyone. Then you'll have to learn, she replied. Because you can't do this alone. After she left, Lucas looked at the closed door. For the first time since his world collapsed, he felt a flicker of something unfamiliar. Curiosity. The following weeks were a brutal grind. Elena was relentless. Every session was a battle against his own body. He roared in frustration, sweat pouring from his brow as he failed to perform the simplest tasks. I can't, he yelled one day, after failing to lift his arm. Not yet, Elena said, her voice steady. But you will. You don't understand what I've lost. Elena knelt before his chair, forcing him to meet her gaze. Lucas, listen to me. You will recover. Not because you are powerful, but because you are human. And humans are resilient. We are built to get back up. Her words, simple and true, pierced the armor around his heart. As the months passed, the walls between them crumbled. He began to ask about her life. Why do you do this? He asked during a massage. Why take care of difficult people? When my father was sick, she said softly, no one was there to help him. He died feeling like a burden. I was a teenager. I promised myself I would make sure no one else ever felt that way. I'm sorry, Elena. Me too. She sighed. But it taught me that our pain can become our purpose if we let it. He looked at her then, truly seeing her. She wasn't beautiful in the polished, artificial way Isabella was. Her beauty was in her honesty, in the kindness that radiated from her. You're different, he said, the ghost of a smile on his lips. So are you, Lucas, she replied, smiling back. The bravest people usually are. After 3 months, he could move his fingers, lift his arm, take shuffling steps with the walker. It was progress. Isabella's visits, however, were cold and impatient. How much longer? Lucas. The wedding plans are in chaos. This is a disaster for our public image. He bit out. Is that all you care about? It's what we both cared about, she retorted. He said nothing, his heart growing colder toward her each time Elena watched these exchanges, her heart aching for him. One afternoon, after Isabella left in a hurry, Elena overheard a hushed phone conversation near the stairs. Don't worry. The power of attorney is almost finalized. Once we're married and I have control of the company, this problem will be solved. He's too weak to suspect a thing. Elena froze, her blood turning to ice. She had to tell him. But how? The shock could devastate his recovery. That evening, he asked her to stay late. They sat on the terrace as the city lights twinkled below. Elena, he began, his voice uncharacteristically tentative. Everything I thought was important, it all turned to dust. You're the only real thing that's happened to me. Lucas, please, he whispered. Don't run away from this. Tears welled in her eyes. I'm not running from you. I'm running from what I feel. Because you have a fiancé. I'm your therapist. This is wrong. And because I've fallen in love with you, and that terrifies me. Before he could respond, she fled. The truth hanging in the air between them. Dr. Reed confirmed Elena's worst fears. Isabella was a fraud, planning to seize his assets and leave him ruined. Elena knew what she had to do. That night, she returned to the penthouse in the pouring rain. Lucas, you need to know the truth about Isabella. She told him everything. He listened, his expression unreadable. When she finished, he let out a bitter, quiet laugh. I knew about the other man. I chose to ignore it. The arrangement was convenient, but the power of attorney, I didn't know she would go that far. Lucas, she's going to take everything from you. He looked at Elena, his eyes clear for the first time. And you know what? I don't care. The company, the money, it's all meaningless. I was the richest man in the world, and I was poor in every way that counted. Until you. Then why did I come back tonight? She whispered. Because you feel it too, he said, taking her hand. So, here's the truth. Tomorrow, I end the engagement. I will protect what is mine. And then I am going to ask you to stay. Not as my therapist, as the woman I love. The next day, he confronted Isabella. The fallout was explosive, but Lucas stood his ground. Isabella left, spitting threats of lawsuits and public scandal, but Lucas was unmoved. Anchored by the truth and by Elena. In the quiet that followed, he turned to her. My life will be a circus. The press will have a field day. Let them talk, she said. Taking his hand, he smiled, a real, genuine smile. As long as you're here. Months later, fully recovered, Lucas stood with Elena on the same terrace. Her contract had long since ended. You don't need me anymore, she said softly. You're right, he replied, taking a small box from his pocket. He knelt, wincing only slightly. I don't need a therapist, but I need you. As my partner, as my best friend, as my wife. Tears streamed down her face as he opened the box to reveal a simple, elegant ring. Marry me, Elena. Not for my past, but for our future. Yes, she breathed. Yes. Years later, Lucas used his wealth to fund community clinics and rehabilitation centers. They built a life, not of luxury, but of purpose, a life defined not by what they had, but by who they had become together. They learned that true love isn't found in moments of perfection. It is forged in moments of brokenness. It doesn't demand that we be strong alone, but gives us the courage to be weak together. And when two souls choose to stay, to rebuild each other, they create a love that is unshakable, a love that is truly their second chance. The moral of this story is multifaceted. Vulnerability is strength, not weakness. Lucas built an empire on a facade of invincibility, which left him isolated and broken. It was only when he embraced his vulnerability and accepted help that he began to truly heal and find real strength. Character is revealed in crisis. The people who claimed to care for Lucas vanish in his time of need, while Elena, a stranger, stayed. Adversity doesn't create character. It reveals it. separating those who love your status from those who care for your soul. Love is an action, not a transaction. Isabella's love was a transaction for money and status. Elena's love was an action shown through her unwavering dedication, honesty, and compassion, expecting nothing in return. True love is about what you give, not what you get. Our greatest pains can become our greatest purpose. Both characters transformed their suffering into purpose. Lucas's paralysis taught him empathy, leading him to help others. Elena's past pain of losing her father fueled her life's work of compassion. In essence, the story teaches us that the foundation of a meaningful life is not what we build for ourselves, but what we build with and for others, rooted in truth, kindness, and the courage to love. Asterisk.